Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see about a free or natural convection. In this case, convective heat transfer coefficient H is a function of G beta delta T L rho mu Cp K. These terms you have already seen in forced convection heat transfer. This also you have already seen. The only new terms you come across here is G beta delta T. G is acceleration due to gravity. Beta I will explain you. Delta T is temperature difference. L is the characteristic dimension, and these four terms are called as thermophysical properties of a fluid. One more thing you should note it here is there is no velocity evident. Velocity is not there in case of free or natural convection. Then the question is how the flow will occur. Flow will occur because of buoyancy forces arising out of density changes of the fluid. Let us say this is your hot plate and the fluid is you kept this hot plate in an atmosphere. Okay, the fluid will be coming and touching onto this hot plate. Okay, this is a cold fluid here. The temperature of the fluid is less than the temperature of the plate. Okay, as soon as this cold fluid is coming in contact with the hot plate, what happens? The temperature of the cold fluid will increase. As the temperature increase, the density of the fluid will decrease. As the temperature of the fluid will increase, the density of the fluid will decrease, because if you see PV is equal to MRT, assuming air as an ideal gas, this can also be written as P is equal to rho RT, and since you are in atmosphere, pressure is almost constant. Okay, and as the temperature increases, to maintain the pressure constant, density has to decrease. Okay, this is how the density of the cold fluid will decrease and it will become a hot fluid. As the density decreases, the ability of the fluid to flow will increase. Okay, it will go up. Okay, it will go up in this direction, and the new cold fluid will be coming and touching onto this hot fluid. Okay, hot plate. Okay, this is how the flow will takes place even though there is no velocity. Okay, because of density changes. To increase the heat transfer rate, hot plate should be kept in such a manner that its upper side is hotter. Okay, if its bottom side is hotter, then also heat transfer will takes place, but the heat transfer is less in this case compared to that of this case. In this case heat transfer is higher, in this case heat transfer is less, because it is freely allowing the air to go away from the plate as soon as it gets heated up. Okay, in this case it is not allowing that much freely to flow the air. Okay, it is obstructing the motion of air. That is why the rate of heat transfer is less in this case, more in this case. Okay, similar to that, if you are taking a cold plate, so cold plate means the temperature of the plate is less than the temperature of the ambient. Okay, and if you place the cold surface in the top direction and on the top side, and the second case is that cold surface is placed in the bottom side. Okay, here again the fluid will be coming and getting cooled. So what will happen? Density of the fluid will increase. It will move in the bottom direction. Okay, it will move in the downward direction. Since there is obstruction here to the flow of fluid, okay, the amount of heat transfer in this case is less than the amount of heat transfer in this case. Here the fluid will be just coming and touching and flowing away. There is no obstruction to the motion of fluid. Okay, they just go without any obstruction, therefore it is more effective. Therefore the heat transfer is more in this case. In all these cases, that is case 1 and case 2, we have one surface has certain temperature and other surface is insulated. This is some ideal case. Okay, If you take the third case, here one surface is at higher temperature and the other surface is at lower temperature, and if you place the high temperature plate on the top side and the low temperature plate on the bottom side, then according to our situations here, you can say that there is a more amount of heat transfer in this situation than this situation, because here the hot plate is on the top side, therefore the fluids will be coming and and freely flowing out. Okay, there is no obstruction to the direction of hot fluids. Okay, in the similar manner, the fluids coming from the bottom will also get heated up and will move in the top direction, but there is some restriction. Okay, but the amount of heat transferred also depends on delta T. Okay, and higher the amount of delta T, higher the amount of heat transfer. And here the 150 is on the top side and it is best utilizing this temperature difference. Okay, but here 150 degree centigrade is at the bottom side, but here the amount of heat transfer between 150 degree centigrade and the ambient fluid T infinity is less because of the restriction here. Okay, the amount of heat transfer that is taking place effectively is between the T infinity and T 75 degree centigrade, but the net quantity of heat that can be between heat transfer that can be between 75 degree centigrade and T infinity is less than the net quantity of heat transfer between T infinity and 150 degree centigrade. Therefore, this is the most effective case, and more amount of heat transfer takes place if you arrange the plate like this, and less amount of heat transfer will take place when you arrange the plate like this. Okay, I have already told you that H is a function of G, beta, delta T, L, mu, rho, Cp, K in the starting of the video. Here G is acceleration due to gravity and beta is the isobaric volume expansion coefficient of fluid, which is nothing but 1 by V times of rate of change of volume with respect to temperature at constant pressure. Okay, and if you talk about the ideal gas situation, you can also write beta as 1 by T mean. Beta can be written as 1 by T mean, where T mean is nothing but T infinity plus T wall by 2. Okay, this is T mean. How you arrive at this formula? Just apply the ideal gas equation formula here, you will get this one. One more thing you should note here, it is isobaric. Isobaric is nothing but a pressure is constant. And what is the physical significance of beta? As the beta value increases, we can say that delta V will increase. As delta V increase, density changes will be more. Therefore, more buoyancy forces will come into picture. Okay. Therefore, beta for gases are greater than beta for liquid, because delta V for gases is much higher as we supply the heat than that of delta V in case of liquids. Okay, for ideal gas we can use beta is equal to 1 by T, where T is T mean. Okay, and delta T is the temperature difference between the ambient fluid and the plate. L is the characteristic dimension of a body. This dimension is used in calculating the dimensionless numbers. Okay, let us see what is the characteristic dimension for different geometries. Let us say if you are having a plate of length L, it is arranged in the vertical direction like this. Its characteristic dimension is nothing but the length of the plate. And you have a cylinder which is vertical, then its characteristic dimension is also is equal to length of the cylinder. If you have an horizontal cylinder and the flow is taking place over this in this direction, then your characteristic dimension is equal to diameter of the cylinder. Okay, and if you have some arbitrary area, okay, whose area is A and perimeter is P, then its characteristic dimension is A by P. If you have a rectangular plate arranged in this manner and the flow of fluid is taking place in this direction, okay, then your characteristic dimension is A by P, that is AB by 2 times of A plus B. If you have a sphere, its characteristic dimension is again D, diameter of the sphere. In case of spheres, the flow will be like this. Characteristic dimension is equal to diameter of the sphere. Okay. Again, going to dimensional analysis, in force convection we have 3 dimensionless numbers, that is One is Prandtl number, other is Nusselt number, and another is Reynolds number. Okay, in case of forced convection, we have seen Nusselt number, Prandtl number, Reynolds number. Now, if you do the same dimensional analysis here, H being a function of G beta delta T L rho mu Cp K, you will get three dimensionless numbers. Okay, three dimensional numbers. Those are, one is Grashof number, another is Nusselt number, and Prandtl number. Okay, first of all, what is Grashof number? Grashof number formula is very much important. Okay, you must remember this. It is G beta delta T L cube upon nu square. It can be also said as a ratio of inertia force into buoyancy force upon viscous force square. Okay, in case of forced convection, like Reynolds number is very much important, here Grashof number is that much important in case of free convection. Okay, here since there is no velocity evident, we do not require Reynolds number. Okay, the Grashof number plays a major role. Okay, therefore a Grashof number will replace the Reynolds number in free convection heat transfer. And Nusselt number is again same, which you have already seen, mu HL by K, and Prandtl number is mu Cp by K. And Nusselt number can be written as a function of Grashof number and Prandtl number. Since three of these non-dimensional numbers are interrelated with each other, we can write like this, as Nusselt number is a function of Grashof and Prandtl, or Grashof number as a function of Nusselt and Prandtl, Prandtl as a function of Nusselt and Grashof. Anything you can write, because these three are the non-dimensional numbers and they are interdependent on each other. And the terms like Grashof number into Prandtl number, that is the product of Grashof number and Prandtl number, is given a new name, that is Rayleigh number. Rayleigh number is nothing but a product of Grashof number and Prandtl number. Therefore, Nusselt number is a function of Rayleigh number. Okay, this will help to define the whether the flow is laminar or turbulent. If Rayleigh number is greater than 10 power 9, then we call it as greater than 10 power 9 means turbulent flow. If Rayleigh number is less than 10 power 9, we call it as laminar flow. Okay, usually this is the functional relationship. This you need not derive or nothing, you should remember this. Okay, Nusselt number is a function of Grashof number and Prandtl number, and it is mth power of these terms, and it is multiplied with C, where C and M are constants, varies with each case. Okay, M is equal to 1 by 4 if you are talking about laminar flow, and 1 by 3 if you are talking about turbulent flow. What is laminar, what is turbulent are decided by Rayleigh number. Okay, like in case of forced convection, laminar and turbulent are decided by Reynolds number. Here laminar and turbulent are decided by Rayleigh number. That values I have already told. Okay, remember this. Rayleigh number less than 10 power 9 means laminar flow. Rayleigh number greater than 10 power 9 means turbulent flow. Okay, and calculation of beta can be written as 1 by T mean for ideal gas. T mean is nothing but the mean or average of plate temperature and the ambient. Okay, let us revise the complete convection chapter. Okay, the only thing you should remember from the convection chapter is from this short notes. Okay, first point is Reynolds number. Reynolds number, you all know, Reynolds number is equal to rho Vd by mu, which is the ratio of inertia force to viscous force, and mu by rho can be written as nu. Okay, next is Nusselt number. Nusselt number is Hd by K, and this is K fluid, not K solid. If it is K solid, then it is a Biot number. Now Prandtl number is mu Cp by K. It is also written as momentum transfer rate upon thermal energy, that is diffusion transfer rate. Okay, standard number is written as Hx by rho u infinity into Cp, or it can also be written as Nusselt number upon Re into Pr, Nusselt number upon Reynolds number into Prandtl number. Okay, and Newton's law of viscosity is just rho is equal to mu into du by dy. Okay, Next, forced convection, that is flow over a flat plate. If Reynolds number is less than 5 lakh, laminar flow. Greater than 6.5 to 7 lakh, it is turbulent flow. Here D is a characteristic dimension of a plate. Next is hydrodynamic boundary layer and thermal boundary layer for laminar flow. Velocity profile is, if you assume the velocity profile cubic, you have to use this equation. If you assume the temperature profile cubic, you have to use this equation, and the variation would be like this. Here you should remember that wall temperature is greater than T infinity. In that case, you will get this profile. If TW is less than T infinity, you will get this type of profile. And momentum equation on the left side is this, and energy equation is this. Only difference is, here you have U, here you have T, here you have nu, here you have alpha, where alpha indicate thermal diffusivity, nu indicate momentum diffusivity. Okay, shear stress, wall shear stress is mu times of dou u by dou y at y is equal to 0. Okay, you will get shear stress proportional to x power minus 1 by 2, and delta proportional to x power 1 by 2, hx proportional to x power minus 1 by 2. Okay, and from hx we can calculate easily nux. Nux is nothing but 3x upon 2 delta t. This can also be written as ht by k. Okay, and delta t relationship, you should remember this. And the values of delta from approximate method is this, and exact method is this. Okay, exact method is given by Blasius. Okay, that is why it is called as Blasius equation. And since delta is proportional to x power 1 by 2, delta t is also proportional to x power 1 by 2. For a fully developed laminar flow over a flat plate, Nusselt number is 0.332 into Re power 1 by 2 into Pr power 1 by 3. And if you are talking about the average value of Nusselt number, just multiply this with 2, you will get this. Okay, if you want a average convective heat transfer coefficient h bar, the formula is 1 by L into integral 0 to L hx dx. Okay, and we have seen that h bar is equal to 2 times of hl, and Stanton number can be written as Nusselt number upon Re into Pr. This is the formula for Stanton number. And the Cfx by 2, screen friction coefficient, Cfx by 2 is equal to this 0.332 into Re power minus 1 by 2. Peclet number is nothing but Re into Pr. Peclet number is useful in case of liquid metals. Okay, Stanton number into Prandtl number 2 power 1 by 3 is equal to Cfx by 2. This we have got from Reynolds analogy. Okay, next, forced convection through pipes. In case of pipes, characteristic dimension is the diameter of the pipe. In case of some other rectangular cross section or some other duct, we have to use D is equal to 4A upon P. Okay, here U is a function of R. Similarly, T is a function of R. U mean, that is mean velocity, which will consider all the variation of velocity, is U mean is equal to 2 by R square integral 0 to R U into R dr. Okay, and T, bulk mean temperature, TB, similar to this equation, just multiply U mean in the denominator here, and here temperature term, that's it. You will get bulk mean temperature. Okay, there are two thermal conditions. One is constant flux condition, other is constant wall temperature condition. In case of constant flux condition, since Q is equal to constant and H is almost constant after certain distance from the starting of the pipe, therefore delta T must always be constant. Therefore the difference TW minus TB, difference between 3W minus TB is almost constant, and is constant throughout the length of the pipe. And if you talk about the constant wall temperature, here there is a huge temperature difference between the wall temperature and the incoming fluid at the entry, as the fluid flows in the pipe, and since there is a heat transfer continuously into the flowing fluid, the temperature of the fluid will increase. Therefore gradually the temperature difference between the temperature of the wall and the fluid will reduce. Okay, and this you will get delta Ti upon delta T is equal to e power Ha upon m dot Cp, since the variation is exponential. If you go back to your heat exchanger chapter, you should know that here one of the fluid is undergoing phase change, and other fluid is changing its temperature from Ti to Te, and considering it as a parallel flow heat exchanger, we can write LMTD, that is delta Ti minus delta T upon ln delta Ti upon delta Te. Okay, then Nusselt number for a fully developed laminar flow through pipes or ducts these values are constant and you must remember this. Okay, Nusselt number is 4.36 for constant heat flux and 3.66 for constant volt temperature. If the Reynolds number of the flow is greater than 4000 inside the pipe, then we will call it as a turbulent flow. And for the turbulent flow, Reynolds number formula is this, and this you rarely required. Okay, and the value of n here is 0.4 and 0.3. Heating of fluid means fluid is getting heated. Cooling of fluid means fluid is getting cooled. Coming to the free convection or natural convection, here Reynolds number is replaced by Grashof number because here the buoyancy effects are more dominant than that of an viscous effects. Okay, that is why Gravitous number will come instead of Reynolds number. And here m is 1/4 if the flow is laminar, 1/3 if the flow is turbulent. This formula you should remember. Okay, and gr into pr is also called as Rayleigh number. Rayleigh number will decide the flow whether it is a laminar flow or turbulent flow. If the Rayleigh number is less than 10^9, we call it as a laminar flow. If Rayleigh number is greater than 10^9, we call it as turbulent flow. And formula for Grashof number is very much important. G beta delta T L cube upon nu square, where beta is 1/v into dou v by dou t at constant pressure. This can also be written as 1/t mean if you are talking about the ideal gas. Okay, delta T is nothing but the temperature difference between the wall and the fluid. Okay, this is about the convection chapter. Okay, the value of L will vary depending upon the cross sections and the geometry you are taking, that I have already explained. Okay, so please remember all these formulas. Enjoy the learning. Before completing my heat transfer lectures, let me give you a thumb rule to remember various numbers such as Reynolds number, Froude number, Euler number, Weber number, Mach number. Okay, this is very much important in your exams. If one more question comes, like in case of GATE 2020, you can directly hit the answer without any second thought. Okay, Reynolds number is a ratio of inertia force to that of viscous force. Okay, Reynolds number is a ratio of inertia force to viscous force. Okay, Froude number is a ratio of inertia force to gravity force. Okay, Euler's number is a ratio of inertia force to pressure force, and Weber number is a ratio of inertia force to surface tension force, and Mach number is a ratio of inertia force to elastic force. Okay, see, numerator is same in all the cases. Numerator is same in all the force, in all the numbers. Therefore, you need not remember the numerator, just remember the denominator. This can be easily remembered by this technique, Rafevam Vajab Se. Just remember this Guru mantra, Rafevam Vajab Se. See, just try to collaborate with this. R is with V, F is with G, E is with P, W is with S, M is with E. By this, you can easily remember what number depends on which frauds. Okay, all the best for your exams. Don't lose your hope. Try hard. You will definitely get the success. Thank you.